Welcome to Bedtime Stories. The Offering. Long ago, a great flood swamped an island. The wind howled and towering waves crashed upon the shores. Crops and cattle were washed out to sea, bamboo huts blew away, rice paddies flooded. The storm raged on, and the people prayed for peace, pleasure and prosperity to the supreme God. When at last the winds died and the sea grew calm, the people gathered what remained of their belongings. They looked around at the muddy rice paddies and wondered how to begin again. They built tiny huts for shelter and began the search for food. Birds have nested in the caves in the sea cliffs, an old man said. We can climb to the caves and hunt for eggs. The men prepared for journey to the caves, and their wives began to fret because of the danger. The supreme God might try to destroy us, if we don't offer him something from our belongings, they said nervously, but there was nothing else could be done, and so the families prepared some offerings and ladders of rope so the men could climb down the steep cliffs to the caves. One man who lived in the first village had lost everything. He looked around at the muddy fields that had once been his farmland. We must gather the little rice we have, he said to his wife. Yes, she agreed. We must make an offering to the beloved God. She gathered all the rice they had and placed it inside 2 coconut shells. Save a little for the children, her husband said, but I need nothing to eat. I will take the rest as an offering to the God. Carrying the shells, the man from the first village set off for the cliffs. On his way he met a man from second village who carried a basket full of chicken, rice and bananas. He was a wealthy man and had lost very little in the flood. The man from second village laughed at the poor fellow from first village. Your offering is very small, he said as he reached into his basket and pulled out a chicken leg. He began to eat. The good God will be pleased, he said between each bites, and laughed again as he ate a chicken wing, tossing the bones back into his basket. The man from the first village was worried, but he knew he must go on, as he hoped to find some food for his family. By the time the men arrived at the cliffs, the basket of the man from the second village was filled only with chicken bones, banana skins and a few grains of rice. The man from the first village coconut shells were full, for he had eaten nothing. The 2 men set their offerings upon their mats at the top of a cliff and bowed to the supreme God. I offer you the humblest gift, the man from first village said. Forgive me, but this is all I have. The man from second village laid his basket of bones and banana skins upon his mat and said nothing. Both men began to climb down the face of the cliff. The man from first village reached a cave and climbed inside. Adjusting his eyes to the darkness, he searched for birds' nests. As he turned to leave, he saw a dozen oysters lying on a large rock. I will take these for my children, and pray these will fill their small stomachs, he said to himself. Take them with my blessing, a voice called. You and your wife have given generously. The man turned, but saw no one. He knew this must be the voice of good God, for he heard the wind rising and the sea pounding. He quickly gathered the oysters, clutched the rope ladder and climbed to the top of the cliff. Meanwhile, his wife at home prayed to God. Send my husband home safely, we will be fine as long as he returns to us. The wife of the man from the second village also prayed in her home. O God, she cried, give us a fortune from the caves as great as our offering. The man from second village had climbed inside a cave, but he was so full from his meal, that he fell asleep. He was roused from his slumber by a crashing wave that spilled into the cave. As he reached for the rope at the cave's entrance, a thundering voice called, Why did you leave me only bones and skins? The man from second village shivered with fear. Pity me, he cried. Save me for the sake of my wife. The supreme God roared again. I shall give your wife for all that she prays for, and with a flash of lightning, the rope ladder floated toward him. He grabbed it and pulled himself to the top of the cliff. Both men hurried home. The man from the second village had just reached his village when his wife came running towards him. "Husband," she wept, "while you were away, our house burned down to the ground." The man from the second village knew at once that his own greed had brought his misfortune. His house was now in ruins, just like the gift he had left for the supreme god. Meanwhile, in the first village, the man opened his oysters to feed his children. To his amazement, he found a beautiful, shimmering pearl inside each one, and when he sold the pearls at market, he was able to buy land and farm food for his family. The man from the first village became prosperous as his heart was generous. If you like the story, please do like, share and subscribe. Thank you for listening. Good night.